we have some special guests in the studio. We have Victor and Anthea, who are doing an atomic show at Suki this coming Sunday. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Yeah, so Blondie, that's an amazing sort of task, undertaking, whatever you want to call it. So how did you get on to doing a whole show on Blondie?
Anthea, kind of germinated from you, really, didn't it? Like, we were talking a couple of years ago, and Anthea sort of flagged the idea, I feel like just getting out and singing and maybe doing a Blondie show. And I think I enthusiastically replied, I've got to play drums in this show, you know. And because I'm actually a drummer, but I'm probably more known for my singing and guitar work and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But I haven't played drums on stage probably since the 80s. So I thought I've got to get, because I love the Clem Burke from Blondie, his drumming, and he's just kind of reminds me a lot of the era that I grew up in and the sort of drumming I did.
Some serious hi-hat action.
Yeah. I had forgotten all about that until recently. Yeah. We were having some wine and the Blondie thing came up again, and we just thought, no, stuff it, let's just do it.
Yeah, we said, we're going to do this Blondie thing, because she brought it up again, and she goes, we should do this Blondie thing. I was like, so, okay, I'm in the city, I'm watching a footy game, and I'm at this pub, because Anthea lives not far from the MCG, Richmond, that sort of area. And so we said, let's meet up for a wine and have a chat and catch up. And we sort of said, when are we going to do this thing? I said, let's do it now. Who can we get? Well, I'll ring this person, ring that person. And literally within a week, we got a band together.
Oh, amazing.
So literally within a week.
Literally within a week, you hold the band.
Name.
Yeah, so that was pretty good.
That's amazing. It was meant to be. The universe has spoken.
Yes.
Yes. And Anthea, how does it feel being Deborah Harry for a night?
Oh, it's great fun. The big challenge, though, I must say that she's not sort of a singer that comes to mind when you think about real singers. I mean, you know, she's not a Carey or a Dion. But I must say doing her songs are very challenging. She's got a terrific range.
Yep.
And she's a very rhythmic singer. So, yeah, it has been a big challenge, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, and she's actually really quite expressive, I find. Like, yeah, she's not a diva, but, yeah, she can sing. There's no doubt about it.
She's got some pipes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, yeah, thanks for coming in and telling us about the show. And it's at Suki Lounge, isn't it, on Sunday? But, yeah, we'll give some more details later in the show. Would you like to, Victor, perhaps introduce the next song, which is another Blondie one, which is in your set, I understand?
Yes, actually, yeah. Well, this song's actually I don't think it was ever released as a single, but it was on the Parallel Lines in 1978, and it's called Will Anything Happen?
Yeah, I love this song. So, Groovers, let's get down. For the Groovers out there, we have guests in the studio. We've got Anthea and Victor from Atomic talking about Blondie.
G'day.
Yeah, so maybe tell us a little bit about your live show. How have you gone about it? What have you got, you know, what's some behind the scenes kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, if you've just joined us, me and Anthea had a wine, which we sometimes do, and any opportunity we get to see each other, we'll have a wine and, you know, just talk about music and art and stuff, and yeah, so we decided to put a Blondie band together just for fun. It's not really for money. We're not really. I mean, we've got to charge at the door because, you know, there's a lot of expenses. We've got to pay studios and rehearsals and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really have an affinity for. I've got an affinity for that era, for that post-punk era.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so I kind of like in the and Anthea's from Adelaide, so she kind of grew up in a. Well, you were predominantly blues rock.
Yeah, very rock. Yeah, definitely. My siblings are like 10 years older than me, so I was lucky enough to grow up listening to their music,
their records and stuff. Yeah. And we're kind of similar ages, even though Anthea looks 10 years younger than me.
That's not true. But you can't see, so I'll go with it.
Yeah.
And,
everybody on radio is young. Don't worry. Yeah.
When I was young, I grew up. I played in. I had an epiphany when I joined a punk band called Drunken Disorderly in the 80s, and we played The Clash and Stiff Little Fingers and Elvis Costello and all that sort of stuff, and opened up this real sort of alternative. We didn't call it alternative back then, but Blondie was one of those bands, and I sort of knew about her because I used to watch, Countdown and all that, and I think it was on Channel 10 or Channel O, when 10 minutes before the news, when they tried to fill in time, they'd always play Heart of Glass by Blondie, and I was asphyxiated. Is that a word?
Yeah.
I was fixated. So asphyxiated. I was fixated to the screen.
Yeah.
Looking at Debbie Harry, and I'd sort of thought I'd grown up because I was into ABBA. Something about blondes in bands, and it really resonated.
Oh,
with
really?
Me.
See,
Yeah,
I was a Frida. I was totally on Frida's side. Anyway,
yeah.
No, that's okay.
So that's how I remember her. But as the years went on, and it was probably only the last 15 years or so that I sort of got into Blondie's catalogue. And what I discovered was I loved their singles like Sunday Girl and Heart of Glass and Atomic and all that. But the two albums that I bought that really affected me was the Parallel Lines and also Eat to the Beat.
Yeah.
And so once I sort of learnt those songs, and Anthea sort of suggested she would like to start a Blondie band just for some fun, I thought, if I could play some of those songs on there. And so we, sort of put the song list together and all that from it. And then we sort of looked and we thought, this is like a best of Blondie, which we thought, yeah, that's cool. But we took some out because we thought, we don't just want to make it a best of, because we're not really, we don't sort of work with click tracks and things like that. We're not like a covers band in such a way. We're more of a homage to the band and to their songwriting, and to to that era, and just try and be faithful and just be a rock band.
Well, I do find a lot of Blondie songs, it almost has like a reimagining of the 50s feel, doesn't it? It's got that sort of freewheeling, it's got that really basic rock, hasn't it? Like that is the sort of base of it, which, I
think there's so much though. I mean, she's one of the first rap singles ever that was a hit, and she does some reggae feeling stuff, obviously the rock, and then there's real disco beats between some of the tracks, so a real broad range of feel for sure.
Yeah, she will. Yeah, actually, talking about the 50s, they did used to do some covers of 50s songs, and I think it was actually on Parallel Lines that they did the Buddy Holly song, I'm Gonna Love You Too. Yeah. So that kind of had that sort of 50s feel. But Anthea's right. That era, that New York late 70s, early 80s, was a real melting pot, because you had all the punk bands. It was sort of like the Ramones and all that. The Clash was influenced by the Ramones, and the Ramones were influenced by Phil Spector and the Ronettes and all that, all the 50s sort of music. And so there's kind of this kindred spirit with the old. And but what was interesting, the technology was merging, and so you get songs like Rapture that came out, and it's like everyone sort of had a disco song. I mean, I kind of laugh because I hear the Kinks had a disco song as well called Superman.
I know, it's great.
It's actually a good song, with it. But everyone tried it, and Blondie tried rap, and they were just so successful. And actually, there's a lot of other bands that tried rap as well, like the Clash. They did This Is Radio Clash, and so it was just that era of that melting pot. And a lot of these bands toured the States, and they got into touring with all the old blues artists as well, and so they kind of, there was this. America's a historical place. Like you got the Cajun music and the rap and all that, the R&B. So I think it was just a natural thing that they did the 50s stuff, because that's rock and roll, and,
it is.
It's American music.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. And so on your show, how did you choose? Like, I had the playlist in front of me, but now I haven't. But it is a bit of everything, isn't it? You've really tried to get those different feels into the list.
Yeah, I think primarily we wanted it to be a fairly organic sounding rock band.
Yeah.
So again, we didn't want to use click tracks. So I actually just chose songs that rock along.
Yeah.
So we left the ballads out. And
Come on, Anthea, tell the truth. I know. I'll tell you why she did these songs, because she likes to dance.
I do love to dance.
I was
She
going
says
to say
She's from
dance,
Adelaide,
yes.
dance. And she dances.
I do dance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really wanted it to be a very upbeat, you know, rocking, danceable set.
Nice.
And we've definitely done that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we've actually talking about the configuration for the matinee show, and there's most likely going to be seating, but we're going to have an area. We're going to purposefully talk to the management there about getting a dance area there, or dance area if you're from Victoria. Yeah, that was probably
Hey, it's
one
the
of
Queen's English, mate.
Yeah, the Queen's English, exactly. Yeah.
Dancer.
There you go, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a look and see what we've got on next. We've got another Blondie song. Surprise, surprise. Anthea, would you like to introduce this one?
Yes, of course. We're going to the hardest part, right? Great song. Love doing this.
So
So
good.
much fun.
Yeah.
Hard on the drums for Victor, but he's doing a great job. The hardest part. I don't know much about the background of the song, I've got to be honest. Victor's like a walking encyclopedia.
It
He
was
might.
It was on Eat to the Beat, I think. It was just one of those songs that... It's actually not... I think it was a single. There was a film clip for it. But it's not kind of like usually in their greatest hits. But it's just edgy. And when I first heard it, I thought, oh, that's okay. But as we keep playing it, it's just so much fun. It's like just a lot of fun. So
It is a great song.
I always think it sounds a bit like a freeway song. You know,
yeah.
when you've got a bit of speed up and you're lane swapping.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
It's got all those guitars that sound like car horns. It's kind of, yeah.
Yep, coming through.
And I think, she was being quite quietly suggestive with the lyrics as well. You have to have a
What can you tell us
listen
about the
to them.
lyrics, Anthea?
Well,
What-
she's talking about very hard men. That's all I'm going to say. I think
All
that's
right.
enough, isn't it?
Okay, well, let's have a listen to the lyrics.
Wow.
Okay, Victor and Anthea, let's keep talking about Blondie. So, so Dreaming we just heard there, which was a little special extra thrown in there.
Yeah, lovely song. That's actually, we start off with that song, don't we, Anthea?
We do. We open. Blondie used to open with that, so we thought, why not do the same thing? It's a great opener, actually. Lots of energy and.
Yeah, Anthea actually sent me a video from one of their shows. It's actually on YouTube. Which one was it,
It's
Anthea?
in Glasgow in 1979, live concert. It's my favourite Blondie live concert. It's
really good,
She's
yeah.
incredible, really incredible.
And so they start off with that song, so we're starting off with that. It's interesting, the drummer, like if I can share about the drumming, what really appeals to me, because
Absolutely.
because it's fast drumming, there's actually a university in the UK that studied Clem Burke's drumming, the drummer from Blondie. I'm not sure if have you heard this story?
No.
Okay, yeah, fascinating. And I might not have the exact details of names of the university and all that, but they studied his drumming and they put him under a test, and they found that the duration and playing a concert with playing Blondie music, playing as Clem Burke, basically is the equivalent of running like a marathon in an Olympic Games or something like that, like the stamina required. And it's because it's so full on, and when you finish it, you are absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
So that's the energy that he puts behind it. It's quite unique, and that's what fascinated me about sort of taking this on at my age, because I used to play drums like that when I was younger, but I'm like, I think I need to find a sport, 'cause I sit in front of the TV eating my Tim Tams and chips, but, when am I going to get out and, besides cutting the grass? So, after Monday night, I feel like I lose like 2 kilos after each session. It's amazing. I'm sweating, and of course I've got to pack up the drum kit as well, and, so that's a bit of work, and lugging it to the car. And all.
Well, that's your warm down.
Yeah, correct. So, it's an exercise. So that's what appeals to me about Dreaming. But Yeah, and obviously melodically, it's kind of reminiscent of the 50s kind of stuff, but done with a punk rock sort of attitude. Yeah.
Drive.
Lyrically, it's lovely too, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's very
we
honest.
do all need to dream and keep dreaming, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dreaming is free, you know.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all don't do enough of it.
Yeah, you should never be stopped from dreaming, like talking out your dreams, because after all, they're just dreams, and you know, it's not like you should put a red light in front of a dream. Well, let's green light it and see where it goes. You know?
I like it for us too, because Victor and I are both dreamers, and we share our dreams. Again, over red wine. Red wine often has quite a lot to do with it. But that's why I like that song too, because it sort of reminds
It's about
me
us,
of
yeah.
our relationship.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's true with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how does that work? Two creative people dreaming away.
Well, we get stuff done.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we do, yeah, because we're both, well, professionally, we're both, Anthea's got a history in being running businesses like in Australia and overseas. Sorry, Anthea, I'll mention your history, but she started off when she was young. Apparently, she used to work at markets selling T-shirts, and I found out that not too long ago, and I used to do the same thing, selling clothes and jeans at markets, and she was quite entrepreneurial. She'd get out. She's probably more entrepreneurial than me, but then I worked in record shops, and Anthea was playing in bands. I was playing in bands. We were both in different parts of the country, but then she got into, you had a telemarketing business and all sorts of things, and then she had the Chandelier Room out in, if you don't mind me talking about this, Anthea.
Oh, go ahead.
You're a bit embarrassed, I'm sorry.
Just showing my age, that's all.
Yeah. Out in Moorabbin, which is one of the great rehearsal studios in Melbourne and venues. And then once that finished up, she went overseas and started up the Chandelier Room. Well, actually, it was Jimmy Hornet in China. So she started a music venue in China, would you believe? So quite an undertaking to deal with all the regulatory compliance and
What was I thinking?
Political compliance. And she brought her kids there and a partner there, and then she came back here and she started Jimmy Hornet, and that's when we sort of reconnected, because probably 15 years ago or so we were at Chandelier Room. We were kind of friends, and then sort of lost contact when she went to China, and then she came back. She started a venue at Jimmy Hornet in Richmond, which was a successful venue, but unfortunately started when COVID started. So,
dear, oh dear.
But so I started doing some solo shows there and playing with some occasional bands and stuff, and we've just really hit it off and just, you know, rekindled our friendship. And so it's so nice to actually do something creatively that's not in a business, because we're always sort of more Anthea with her venue and stuff. But this is actually just working together in a band, and it's just a lot of fun. Although there's some business aspects about it, we both drive it and try and promote it and that sort of thing. But
yeah, a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. All right. Well, will we hear more from Blondie? Anthea, would you like to maybe introduce this next song?
All right, what have we got here? Oh, 11:59.
No.
I'm looking at the wrong
Once I Had a
one.
Love, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You know, I don't know much about this song. I'm actually really interested to hear it again. I haven't heard it for years and years. Probably not since it came out.
Yeah, right.
So Once I Had a Love, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
Okay. And that was the Specials there with Rat Race. That was apparently one of their most live played songs. They played that a lot live, that song. So it's a cool little funky number there. One to dance to. Hey, Anthea.
Yes, dancing.
Yeah, so we were in the break there just chatting about the era, and we had a few other artists come up, like Elvis Costello. So when Victor, when you're not doing a Blondie show, you're doing an Elvis Costello show.
Yeah, I've got a show coming up on the 16th of November with a band of mine called Victor Strangers and the Futurists.
Uh-huh.
So we do 2 hours of an Elvis Costello, his first 20 years. But it's mainly probably more his first 10 years, but there's quite a fair bit in the second 10 years, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
From 87 to 96 type thing, yeah. But, I grew up in that era, like, you know. I loved Kiss and Adam and the Ants, and then I saw the Sex Pistols on Sounds on Donny Sutherland and thought, oh, wow, I love that band. And, yeah, just got into them later when I joined that punk band, and, yeah, so that British influence in me. And
Yeah, I like the British punks. But honestly, that era in New York, like you were saying, more towards the start of the show, it was quite incredible, wasn't it? Just so much vibrancy, so much happening.
Yeah, well, historically that area, CBGB's was started by, what was his name? Hilly Crystal, which was it was meant to be like a country. I think CBGB's. What does it stand for? Country blues. I can't remember what it stands for, but he had this idea that it was going to be this country blues folk kind of thing, Americana music. But who ended up rocking up to his place was all these young bands like Television and the Ramones and Blondie, and they were kind of just this new lot of people that were kind of sharp and just, you know, had that punk attitude, sort of more influenced by, I suppose, New York Dolls and just playing simply and being into the artistry of music and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they started. So when you hear things like one we just heard, Once I Had a Love, also known as the disco song, that was actually, as your listeners would no doubt know, it's actually Heart of Glass.
Oh, hang on, Victor. We don't have listeners on this show. We've got the Groovers.
Oh, the Groovers.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. The Groovers. Yep.
Yeah, they don't just sit there and listen.
No.
I identify as a groover too.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's all good. Should put that on my LinkedIn profile. Strangest groover. So yeah, your groovers would be aware of that song, and there's quite an interesting story with that because they recorded with Mike Chapman, the producer, for their third album, and he took that song and he put the band through the rigmarole of his production, which was quite militant, and I think the band had a real hard time birthing that song, that production, because you heard what that sounded like and compared to what it sounded like later, it was quite different. So literally he started off with a rhythm box. There's a wonderful documentary that talks about it on YouTube, with a dun, 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 and then he literally got Clem Burke to play each individual bass drum note, dum, 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 by itself, the snares separately by itself,
Wow.
the cymbals. That's why it sounds disco and like electronic, because he kind of disciplined him to do it like to the rhythm box. So he's literally playing to a click track, as we know it.
There you
these
go.
days, yeah. So it's quite futuristic, but it still had that organic feel, and that production sort of catapulted them into that mass population of groovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must say I do like that nice pared back version.
It's wonderful.
Sort of,
So
I don't know,
innocent.
it's so cruisy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
I haven't heard that, honestly. It really took me back listening to that version
Yeah, I thought
of
you'd
it.
heard that one, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time.
Well, that was
Yeah.
actually was never really out on an album. I think it was reissued with the 20th anniversary edition of, I think it was on the CD.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. It was a bonus track version.
It was a bonus
Yeah.
track.
Oh, well, look, it's been really fabulous having you both in today, and to talk about Blondie, who, yeah, I love. I'm a bit jealous, Anthea, because secretly I think we all wanted to be Deborah Harry at some point.
I know, I'm a lucky girl. Right?
I reckon.
Well, you can meet Deborah Harry on Sunday at Suki Lounge.
Exactly.
You can let
Yeah.
your grooving emotions pour out. So you'll have a community that understands.
That's true. That's very true. So, yeah, do you want to give us the details again, Victor? So it's
Sure.
Suki Lounge?
Yeah. So our band's called Atomic, and we've actually got a website, atomicweare.com. So atomicweare.com. But yeah, you can look for tickets there or on the Suki Lounge website, sukilounge.com.au through OzTix. And yeah, tickets are $30. And yeah, so yeah, if you just visit those websites, you can buy them. There should be some at the door. Like, I don't know if we'll sell it out. It'd be great if we did, but
Yeah.
there'd probably be tickets at the door. But if you get in early, you're guaranteed. So we'd love for you to come and hit us up after the show too. Like we're doing an after show party. We're just going to have dinner and drink and catch up and just talk.
And what time is it?
Well, it starts the doors open at 4:00, and it's so I'm actually doing a solo set, just playing guitar, singing some of my own songs and a different set to open, and then we've got the full Blondie show. But it'll probably be wrapped up by 7 or just 7:15 or something like that.
Oh, that's very sensible time.
So yeah, you can actually have afternoon dinner or whatever there, or early dinner, and or hang out with us and have dinner, and just relax and
Sounds
talk.
like a plan.
And don't forget
All
to bring
right.
your dancing shoes.
Indeed, yeah.
Indeed. All right, well, we'll see you Sunday, and thanks again for coming in. Victor, do you want to maybe take us out? See what I did here with this one, noticing what time we're heading towards?
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yes, it's 11:59 almost. So this song's actually called 11:59 from Parallel Lines, and we're actually doing this song, and this is one of those punk rock songs that just, I love it. So enjoy it. This is 11:59. Thank you, Tash. Thank you, Tina. And thank you, MDR Groovers.
Yeah, good on you.
Thank you.